Hey guys, Shane here at Tank Hunter Miniatures, and today we're going over my tournament results using the new Custodian Solar Spearhead detachment. So as you can see, we're leaning full into Dreadnought territory, taking a bit of a break from tanks, going straight into walkers, because I feel this is really where we're sort of headed, especially since if you saw my last video talking about how the competitive, like the way the layout and everything is, having tanks just really bogs you down. You get car parked a lot. You have a lot more maneuverability with these walkers, and just having the ability to fight, hold stuff down, it's pretty effective. So as you can see, we got the three guys with the shield and sword. Their main ability is when they're in combat, they are neg 1 to be wounded, which is pretty handy because there is the strat to be neg 1 to be wounded against the higher strength to toughness. I'm not sure if it stacks. I do not know if it stacks. I'll have to look into that more. Rarely does that come up. So if it does stack, you could use that as well. I didn't get a chance to use it here, but we'll go through that. The other thing you see is we have the guys with the spears. Now the spears have a great ability to deal the devastating wounds on the charge. On a 4-up, it's 3 mortal wounds. And just when they start combat, they got a good chance to deal mortal wounds as well. So they are they're nasty. They're nasty at dealing damage. The big guy at the back, the Telemon, the one with the 2 fists, so he gets the extra attack. So he has 8 attacks. And I gave him the enhancement, so he has the extra attack, and he has the extra strength and extra damage. So strength 13, so he's wounding everything on like a 3. And yeah, 4 damage, AP2. That's the biggest downside of this army. Pretty much everything is either AP1 or AP2. So you see the big shields, the big blades. Oh, you think, oh, they're power swords, they must be AP3. No, AP2 for some reason. Even though it's a blade, it's a sharp, stabby thing. No, it's more like a thunder hammer. So it's like a blunt instrument. So, yeah, they're going by that logic. It's odd, but yeah, I mean, against most elite armies and most big things that have like 2-up armor saves, they generally have 4-up invulns anyway. So having the extra AP doesn't really come into that big a factor. And you see the other Telemon's got the twin storm cannons, which is so fantastic at dealing devastating wounds. It did so crazy good. And it's really funny because I was just watching this morning, Winters put up his latest battle report going against Solar Spearhead. And yeah, you see how well that did. So it seems to be the thing people are bringing now. It's pretty competitive. He was a bit more varied, more balanced a list. But now we went full into it, so let's see how we went. So the first matchup, this was an interesting one. So he's bought the super heavy Astraeus tank for the Space Marines, going the White Scars one so he can advance and charge. So as you can see here, he's got the repulsor on the left. It's got some blade guard in it. He's got the big blob of outriders with a chaplain, giving them the devastating wounds for shooting, the storm strike, and he's got the other gladiator down there. The problem with this matchup was pretty much everything he's got is anti-infantry. It's a big gun that he's got up top there, but it's only AP1 and doesn't have a lot of shots because it's twin linked, so it's reliable at taking out infantry. But none of this army is really anti-large, so that's where he gets into trouble. So as you can see, he gets first turn, advances up, he's grabbing the point. I forget which mission this was, but yeah, he manages to get out. He takes some shots off on the Telemon there. Telemon's able to soak pretty well. He takes a couple of wounds, so... And that's the other thing with this army is that when you hit it, it just makes it stronger because now it has rerolls. So that is fun. So yeah, not a great first turn. He isn't able to get the charge off. He's too far out to be able to get straight into my zone there. So our turn, we managed to move up. We were able to do some damage to that big squad of Outriders with the cannons. The issue was I moved the other Telemon, the close combat one. He overwatched, and the multi-melter reduced him down to 3 wounds. That was crazy. So yeah, that's the thing about these guys. As soon as they start, losing health, they're very vulnerable to like big damage stuff. So yeah, multi-melter, oof, almost took it down just in Overwatch. So you gotta be careful with these guys, is what I learnt. But we're able to charge in with the sword dreadnought, and yeah, with the fist, we're able to just take them out. You see the guy at the spear, he was able to get the charge off, deal some damage to the repulsor. I think I whiffed really hard. It was like a lot of ones to wound, so we weren't able to deal too much damage to him, and the other one didn't able to make the charge. But as you can see on the right, I was able to use the strat, so he advanced and charged, so he got right up into the deployment zone. He was able to get that gladiator into combat. He wasn't able to do that much damage to him. I opted for lethal wounds there, so we got a couple of good chunks out, but he's not really the anti-vehicle guy as much as the spear ones are. So his next turn, he's pulled the repulsor out. He let the blade guards come out, but we overwatched because all the other dreads have either the 2 incinerators, and of course the blade has the twin linked incinerator, so it's a lot of fire, a lot of overwatching heavy flamers. And he's pulled out a couple of stuff, he's taken some shots off. He managed to use the Acestus there. He got the sword one with the shield there down to half health. So yeah, he did manage to do some deal, but when you got a 500 point model and it's not really able to do that much to like a 150 point model, it's not great trading value. So as you can see, then he's got caught up with the blade guard into combat with that guy. He's done some damage to it, but he's able to sort of fight through it. Next turn, we're able to just clean up the rest of that. You can't see it, but he's taken the turret off the back of the super heavy tank there, because I was able to charge in using the strat to break through the ruins, the fortress there, and we're able to charge in with the sword guy and the spear, and yeah, the front of the tank. We did the combat and we're able to take it out pretty well in one turn. So I think we shot out a bunch with the dreadnought with the storm cannons as well. So yeah, leaving him with 1 gladiator left. So that was the game. So yeah, as you can see, he took a very elite Space Marine list, and I guess eggs in one basket with the 500 point tank. I don't see it. That's why I'm saying, a Baneblade probably isn't a great choice to bring at tournaments. I've said that, a few times now. And this is, Baneblade for the Space Marines. And as well as that, like, just because of how big it is, it's very hard for it to move around areas. If you were doing actual WTC terrain, there's no way this thing could really move around, even with fly. It's just going to be impossible. So, first game victory for us. So second turn, going against another new detachment, Hammers of the Emperor for this tank army. A couple of vanquishes, got a tank commander, the plasma, the Lehman Russ as well, and a Rogel Dawn commander. And I was discussing this with Landon, just how the Rogel Dawn commander, like, it's such a different play style to the regular Rogel Dawn, because the regular Rogel Dawn has the ablative plating. You can just put that on the front lines and just sort of leave it. Whilst we feel the commander, you have to leave it at the back, because it's just not, it's not going to withstand as much. Interesting enough. So yeah, but I mean, with this list, he was able to get orders to every tank. So all his Leman Russes and his Rogel Dawn is all getting the +1 to hit. So that is nice. That is definitely nice. So we got the first turn here. I didn't really want first turn, but we got it anyway. And as you can see, he did his scout move for the Chimera up the top and the Sentinel. But we were able to do a very long charge with the Achilles. He advanced, charged with the strat, and was able to take a good chunk. I think I failed the mortal wounds though, so he's only left with 3 wounds, so we weren't quite able to take it out, which is a shame. I really wanted that Chimera destroyed, but we were able to take out the Scout Sentinel, and we did a lot of firepower down below. I think the camera's cutting this off. Yeah, to a Taurox, left it on some wounds. We've got the other 2 Dread Knights on the right there, just behind cover, just waiting for him to come to us to sort of spring out a trap. Oh, and behind the fortress, you can't see, I've got the Telemon and the other one with the sword and shield. I forget their names. Oh, and this was the mission where the unexploded ordnance. So the middle objective, I've told the Telemon to come up, and he's kicked it away. So he's thrown a bomb, unexploded bomb, over the fortress walls, and is on his side of the battlefield now, which will net us some points, even though we don't have the objective. So his turn, a bit aggressive. So you see he's come up. The Rogel Dawn did a number on the Telemon. The Telemon is almost dead at this point. Man, I could not make a single invuln save to save my life this game. It just couldn't make any. So yeah, the Chimera used the bravery, insane bravery. That's where he used it, so he could pull it out and get the men on the field. We overwatched, got rid of half of them, but they were still fine to cleanse the objective. So he's cleansing. He had another objective which he managed to do, so he's winning by quite a lot. Our turn, we had no objectives we could get. We just scrapped everything pretty much. So we're a bit on the back foot points wise at this point. So but yeah, he's moved the Taurox up. He's got guys down below on the bottom objective, and the I think the Vanquisher did some shots off on the other Telemon with the storm cannons, but we're able to make our invuln saves there, and he's just slightly wounded, but he's mostly fine. That's right, I failed it, and then I re-rolled the invuln save, and it just kept him alive because it was 6 plus d6 damage. Could have one-shot him, but luckily we were able to keep him survived. So our next turn, the Telemon is gone. I used a strat so he could go through the wall, so I could go to that objective in the center and kick it even further. But unfortunately, when he went over the wall, he overwatched with the Dawn. The Dawn was able to overwatch him to death. So that was the end of the Telemon. So like, the Telemon has been doing a whole lot, but it's been good because he's been a damage soak. He's, you know, everyone's firing at him rather than other stuff. So he's been a good distraction. He's definitely, yeah, for how much he took, even though he wasn't able to inflict into others, that made him pay for himself. As you can see, the Dawn, yeah, the other tank up the top has been taken out. There was another Vanquisher behind the building up the top. That's been destroyed. The Dreadnought was able to come in with his spear, do enough damage, and the other tank, the plasma tank, were able to put everything into it. I think we put a little into the Dawn. I don't remember. But anyway, we took out the other tank there, so he's only got the Dawn up top and a Chimera on 3 wounds. Down the bottom, we're able to take out the men in the Taurox. We're able to take out the Taurox itself, and we're tying up the Vanquisher with the Telemon there. Now, the Telemon is just kicking at it with his feet, so both of them are doing no real damage, But it's helpful because he's tying him up in combat. He's taking a penalty to shoot because he's in combat, but he's still hitting on 3s with rerolls 1s. So it's pretty viable for him to be, in combat and still shooting. So it's very effective what the Telemon can do, even though it's the ranged Telemon. He isn't going to do a lot of damage in combat, but it's effective. He's tying up the tank. That's what really hurts. So next turn, he's moved up the tank commander there just to grab that objective. I think that was to get him some points. The Dawn has moved out. And yeah, it looks like the Vanquisher wasn't really able to do anything. They're still in combat. He shot a bunch at the shielded Dreadnought. He did some damage to him, but for the most part, he's fine. It's a lot of plasma shots, and yeah, when you're winning on 5s against these guys with their high invulns, it just isn't gonna go too well. And yeah, with the penalty to hit and everything, it just wasn't great for him. But he is still winning on points by a lot. It's been a fun thing. Yeah, and the Chimera up the top was able to push the objective into my zone, so it's sort of balancing out the points for the primary. My turn though, things have changed. I think I actually missed a turn here because basically we did damage. I think this was the end of the next turn, but because what happened was, we're able to charge in, get rid of his tank commander in the middle there with the spear. Just yeah, the other one, the Vanquisher, fell down, trying to get out of the way, but unfortunately with the commander gone, he wasn't able to, give him any of the buffs there. The Rogel Dawn actually failed a leadership, and because of that, he couldn't take the stratagem to shoot after falling back. So that really hurt him. So he fell back to try and get the... Actually, I don't think he did fall back in the end. I think he failed the leadership and he'd already used Insane Bravery. So, yeah, he wasn't able to buff himself. He was in combat, so he was hitting on 5s, basically. So that was a bad spot for the Rogel Dawn to be in. And you can see in the backfield, he's dropped some Scions in to do some objective there, which he managed to get off. So he's still doing points. But then by the next turn, I was able to move the guy back down, use his Flamer to get rid of those guys. We clear off the last tank. And by turn 3, I think that was the end of my... Yeah, that was like the end of my turn 3. The tanks are gone. So this was an interesting game because he had enough. Like, if he could have got enough shots off, he had the potential to really hurt me. Like if the Vanquisher had killed the Telemon, and actually, yeah, if I hadn't made those saves, one-shotted him away, and I'm relying on just these smaller ones to sort of do the damage. Yeah, it would have been really hard, because he had a lot of board control with this army, but we were just able to be so fast. As you can see, that slingshot charge from the front, where I'm in my deployment zone, I'm charging him in his deployment zone. This is insane. The +1, because yeah, +1 to advance, then your stratagem to advance and charge, +1 to charge. It's great, and they have 8 base movement because of the bonus to movement. This is how you do it. This is how they want you to do it. It seems obscene, but we're encouraged to do it. So, looking a gift horse in the mouth, as they say. All right, so last game, we're up against Grey Knights. So it's Elite Imperium versus Elite Imperium. First, seeing who's the most elite. The thing with this one, though, we actually have more drops than him. Even though we're a, elite sort of army, we have the 8 drops, and you think, oh, that's not a lot of drops. He only had about 6, which was interesting. He has 2 Dread Knights and some Paladins, Calder Drago, a Librarian, and another smaller Paladin squad or something like that. So he managed to get the first turn. So he was able to move some stuff around. The other dreadnought's hiding behind that rock down the bottom right there, ready to strike at any moment. But of course everything's just going to go back up into teleport and then just come back down anyway. So the deployment doesn't really matter for Grey Knights. They'll go where they want to go regardless. So his first turn, he's able to take that the Dread Knight there, and he does a advance and charge into the line, which gets the sword, the sword Dreadnought, and the Telemon into combat. So he's able to kill the sword Contemptor, but then the Telemon is able to punch him to death quite easily. They do explode, dealing 1 wound. Actually, I think it's more than 1 wound. So they take a few wounds to the 2 guys there, which is actually not what you want to happen. It's because now they have rerolls. So that is, that's bad news for him. We've struck me down, but, you know, unless you kill me, you only make me more powerful. So that's what Custodes do. So anyway, our turn, we are able to move up. As you can see, we got the Telemon with the Storm Cannon. He's running up to take that top objective, because this is taken hold. You just have to grab objectives. I thought about putting the Telemon on the middle objective, but I thought, no, I'll hold him off for now. I'll just keep him a little back. We'll be a bit more cautious, because he is a little wounded there. So let's hold back and see what he does and be more reactive than going full force towards him. And we're just ready there to pull the other 2 dreadnoughts with the spears, ready to move up to the objective there when it is time. So as you can see on his turn, he's dropped down some paladins on the center, grabbing that one. He's grabbing the one on the right there, and he's grabbing the one, he's not quite grabbing the one up the top yet, the top left. He tried to use, what is it, the Vortex of Doom, rolled a 1, dealing him about 5 mortal wounds to the squad. That's why we never mess with the warp, kids. It's not worth it. You know, don't do warp. It's, just say no. Just say no to the warp. It's not worth it. But he pings off some wounds. You get some shots off at the one of the dreadnoughts down there. Doesn't really do a lot of damage, as he's mostly hitting with some whatchamacallits, just like storm bolters and stuff. It's not great against high damage. They don't really have anything. Like, yeah, they have some ability to do dev wounds and stuff, but the Grey Knights just don't have any shooting that can hurt like armored vehicles and large. They don't really have anti-large in their arsenal, which is interesting. But anyway, in our turn, we get marked for death, and as you can see, there's about 4 things on the table. So normally I hate getting marked for death, because it's just like, yeah, he'll just make stuff that I can't get to. But in this case, marked for death is fantastic for me. So yeah, when it comes to our turn, as you can see there, so the Telemon up the top with the storm cannons, it obliterated that squad of paladins with the librarian. A lot of dev wounds there, and then it left it down to a couple models, and then once we charged in, I used tank shock on him, and they were able to squish him just in the tank shock phase, which was fun. And yeah, crush them to death. So that was cool. And then down the bottom, Kaldor Drago and his paladin squad dropped down on that objective. We managed to get all 3 the spears to deal their dev wounds, dealing 8 devastating wounds before anything. Just coming in, bang, 8 dev wounds. So that was fun. And then the Telemon was able to wreak havoc with his giant fists. So he also took the paladins up, the 6-man blob. He pulled them back into the chamber or whatever. So all that's left on the table right now is the hidden Dread Knight. And then on his turn, it stood still. because he had to do stuff on different playboards. So he's got him in the objective zone and in no man's land, doing the actions there. But we're able to run in, take care of that Dread Knight, and leaving him with one 6-man blob left while our army is pretty much unscathed. So yeah, bad trade-off for the Grey Knights here. It was, yeah, like I said, elite versus elite, and the most elite, i.e. the Grey Knights, just have the advantage here. So yeah, we 3 out of 3 games, we came in first place. It was a good day had by most. So yeah, I think this is an army, well, not just this army, but this detachment. This is going to do a lot. Like I said, from watching Winter's report this morning, what he had to say about it, seems like this is a big go-to for Custodes. People are going to be using this a lot more. This is 1,500 points. Yeah, like I said, it does have its weaknesses. Like on paper, you look at it and think it's like these things have 10 wounds, the big ones have 12 wounds. You know, they shouldn't be that hard to take out. But yeah, you just got to play them super aggressively. You know, always be charging. Basically, you're going to be the same playstyle as like World Leaders. Just keep going forward. Just keep attacking. Keep moving. So yeah, I could see a lot happening with this detachment. As I said when it initially came out, and me and Josh did the review, and we said this is probably the most powerful one that came out over Christmas. So, yeah, I might try it a bit more. I might try and swap out some of the other ones, because, yeah, using the other dreadnoughts that come back to life, that's pretty crazy. On a 3-up, they can just come back to life, and it's like, wow, okay. So that's gonna be an interesting way to play it. But yeah, that's it for this one. Well, let me know what you guys think, what you'd like me to try out next, and we'll see you soon. Bye.